Imagine for a moment that you live with the awareness that pain, struggle, and dissatisfaction are not exceptions, but the rule of life. Happiness slips through your fingers like sand. In this video, we will explore one of the deepest and most complex philosophical ideas, Arthur Schopenhauer's view on life. His assessment of life is bleak but honest. By the end, you will understand why Schopenhauer's words are still relevant and how they can illuminate your own difficulties. Stay with me until the end. The final thought may change your perception of everything around you. Schopenhauer, the philosopher of pessimism, believed that life is essentially suffering. According to him, our existence is governed by an insatiable will, a force within that constantly craves and demands satisfaction, leaving us empty and yearning for more. Let's understand why he saw life as an endless cycle of aspirations and disappointments, and what lessons can be drawn from his bleak view of the world. To understand Schopenhauer, one must accept a truth that many avoid. Life is hard, often unbearably hard, and our dreams, relationships collapse, and the promises of happiness that society waves before us rarely come true. So why is suffering so deeply rooted in the human experience? Schopenhauer argued that the reason lies in the very nature of the world and the force that governs it. He introduced the concept of the will to live. This will is not a conscious choice, but an indomitable drive for survival, reproduction, and continuation of the species. It moves all living beings. But here is the strangeness. This will is never satisfied. Career growth, relationships, or material things. Did they bring lasting happiness? Or were they quickly replaced by a new desire or emptiness? Schopenhauer believed that this endless cycle of desire and dissatisfaction is the essence of life. We often place our hopes in the future. If I got that job or met the right partner, I would be happy, we tell ourselves. But happiness is an illusion, Schopenhauer said. Are you familiar with this feeling? Have you experienced emptiness after achieving what seemed like the ultimate goal? Share your thoughts. This is a universal experience. Arthur Schopenhauer formulated this idea more than a century ago, and it remains relevant today. His philosophy questions the idea of progress. In a world obsessed with development, where new technologies and conveniences appear daily, it seems that humanity is becoming happier. But Schopenhauer argues the opposite. Every new invention and social achievement only adds new layers of desires, not addressing the root of our dissatisfaction, the insatiable will. His perspective may seem overwhelming and even bleak, but it's worth pausing for a moment to consider why this understanding is important. What can we learn from a philosopher who says that life is essentially suffering? This is where it gets most interesting. Schopenhauer was not just a messenger of gloom. He offered ways to cope with this reality. He believed that it is impossible to completely get rid of the will, but its power over us can be weakened. These ideas give hope and direction to those willing to understand and accept the depths of human nature. For Schopenhauer, art, music, and philosophy are ways to temporarily transcend suffering. Through them, one can step outside oneself and stop constantly desiring. In such moments, we connect with something greater than our personal suffering. Remember when you were completely immersed in music, painting, or a profound idea. For a short time, the endless noise of desires and dissatisfaction quiets down. Schopenhauer saw glimpses of deep truth in these moments and a way to rise above life's melancholy. Art and philosophy are only part of the equation. Schopenhauer also called for compassion and empathy as means to live in a world full of suffering. By recognizing the universality of pain, understanding that every person struggles with their own difficulties, we begin to free ourselves from the selfish will that binds us. This idea, though pessimistic, carries an important lesson. Suffering unites us all. It is a common human experience that we share. Through understanding and compassion, we can ease not only our own pain, but also the suffering of others. So tell me, does Schopenhauer's view on life resonate with you, with your experience? Is there any point in accepting the inevitable sufferings of existence, or do you believe there is another path to finding meaning? Share your thoughts. The conversation is just beginning. Now that we have uncovered the foundation of Schopenhauer's philosophy, we will delve deeper into the next section. Let's consider the intersection of his ideas with modern psychology. We will discuss why understanding the will to live is more relevant than ever. Before diving in, let's pose an important question. If life, according to Schopenhauer, is tied to inevitable suffering, does that mean it is completely devoid of meaning? Or is the meaning hidden in the very act of confronting difficulties? This question is not only philosophical, it is deeply personal. Every day we hear calls to stay positive and look on the bright side. But how often do these words seem empty? Schopenhauer did not sugarcoat reality. Perhaps that is why his philosophy resonates so strongly with us. He makes us ask, what do we truly strive to achieve when facing life's difficulties? In modern psychology, Schopenhauer's ideas find surprising echoes. For example, consider the concept of the hedonic treadmill. Circumstances improve. We earn more money, reach a long-awaited goal, or find the perfect partner. But our happiness returns to a baseline level, as if we are running on a treadmill. The pursuit of satisfaction always remains unattainable. Familiar? Schopenhauer anticipated this phenomenon long before the term appeared among psychologists. He argued that the structure of human desire guarantees constant dissatisfaction. Even in happy moments, we feel anxiety about the future. Why does this happen? Schopenhauer believed the cause lies in the insatiable nature of the will. How many celebrities, billionaires, and opinion leaders have admitted to feeling emptiness despite their success? This is not just a coincidence. Research shows that after achieving goals, happiness returns to its baseline level, confirming Schopenhauer's thoughts. Increasing wealth, status, or achievements brings less and less joy. This happens because external successes do not solve the deep problem of our insatiable will. So what to do if the will drives us to endless striving and dissatisfaction? Is there a way to free ourselves from its power? Schopenhauer believed it is possible to learn to control the will. One way, according to Schopenhauer, is renunciation of the will. This does not mean rejecting life, but rather stepping back from constant desires and passions. Meditation, mindfulness, and Stoic practices reflect similar ideas. They teach us to detach from desires and find peace in the present moment. Let's take a pause for reflection. When was the last time you truly felt peace? Not because of achievements, but simply because you allowed yourself to be. Such moments are rare, but very powerful, aren't they? Schopenhauer also valued direct confrontation with suffering rather than avoiding it. Schopenhauer claimed that when we interact with art, music, literature, or painting, we temporarily free ourselves from the will and its demands. In such moments, we experience life not as a chain of desires, but as something pure, eternal, and truly human, as if touching the depth of being. Remember a song that brings you to tears, or a painting that takes your breath away? Why do these experiences change us so much? Schopenhauer argued that this happens because art allows us to step outside ourselves and see the world without the filters of desire and fear. For a moment, we touch something greater than our individual suffering, something universal and grand. But art is not the only way to overcome suffering. Schopenhauer also saw potential in compassion and selflessness. When we realize that others suffer just as we do, a bridge arises between our isolated sufferings and the shared human experience. This awareness does not eliminate pain, but it can transform it into something meaningful and valuable to us. Imagine how life would change if we saw it not as a solitary journey, but as a collective endeavor, uniting everyone. Kindness to others is not only help, but also liberation from the selfish will that keeps us captive to dissatisfaction and suffering. Do you think it is possible to find meaning in a world full of suffering? Can art, mindfulness, and compassion help us overcome the cycle of passions and despair? Share your thoughts, for the conversation becomes richer when we discuss it together. In the next section, we will explore how Schopenhauer's philosophy intersects with modern ideas. You will be surprised at how much his teachings help us cope with today's challenges, from the pressure of social networks to the search for happiness in the chaos of the world. Let us recall Schopenhauer's central idea. Life is driven by the will, an endless force of desire that leads to suffering. But even in this bleak view, there are seeds of hope and wisdom. What if understanding this inner struggle is the key to resilience and personal growth in the modern world? Think about the pressure we face today. Social media fills us with carefully curated images of success and happiness, making us feel like we are constantly falling behind and not measuring up. We chase likes and followers, trying to meet ideals that seem unattainable, and this intensifies our feelings of dissatisfaction and anxiety. People often believe that achievements and approval will bring them satisfaction. But ultimately, these pursuits leave a sense of emptiness and discontent inside. Schopenhauer's philosophy directly addresses this phenomenon. He reminds us that the will to live and the constant striving for more is a universal condition, not just a personal struggle. Imagine how he would interpret the modern obsession with self-improvement. At first glance, it is a noble desire to become better, but often behind it lies a feeling of inadequacy. Schopenhauer warned us about the need to verify whether our desire for growth truly enriches us or merely keeps us chained to the will, making us want more and more. An important question arises: how to find meaning and happiness without becoming a slave to endless desires? Schopenhauer's answer lies in developing mindfulness and distinguishing fleeting pleasures from deep, lasting satisfaction. One way is to shift the focus from external achievements to inner growth. Instead of asking, "What can I get?" one should ask, What can I give? This reflects Schopenhauer's belief in compassion as a path to transcendence. When we go beyond our own desires, we approach true liberation and a deep understanding of the meaning of life, according to Schopenhauer. When we focus on the well-being of others, we create connections that give our lives true meaning. Modern psychology confirms this idea. Research shows that acts of kindness and generosity increase the feeling of happiness and reduce stress levels, making our lives more mindful and joyful. When we contribute to something greater than ourselves, we gain a purpose that material success cannot provide. This fills life with meaning. Schopenhauer's thought reminds us that satisfaction comes not from fulfilling our own desires, but from alleviating the suffering of others. This shift in perception helps us cope more easily with failures and difficulties, changing our attitude towards life's challenges. Schopenhauer argued that suffering is inevitable, but how we respond to it shapes our life experience. By accepting pain as a natural part of existence, we free ourselves from the illusion that life must always be easy and joyful. Instead, we can find strength in perseverance and growth in difficulties, becoming stronger through overcoming. Recall a moment when you faced a serious trial, loss, failure, or deep doubt. At the time, it seemed overwhelming. But looking back, perhaps it gave you a valuable lesson, deepened compassion, clarified priorities, or revealed your inner strength. Schopenhauer's philosophy invites us to view suffering as a path to growth and understanding, rather than as an obstacle. We must perceive these moments as opportunities for growth. Although suffering is inevitable, we can turn it into a source of wisdom and meaning. This idea resonates with the words of Viktor Frankl, a psychologist and Holocaust survivor. He wrote that suffering ceases to be suffering when it finds meaning. Frankl's work harmonizes with Schopenhauer's ideas, showing that even in the darkest times one can find purpose and meaning in existence. By shifting attention from what we lack to what we can give, be it creativity, compassion, or resilience, we rise above the endless demands of the will. This allows us to create a life with deeper meaning. But we should not stop there. Schopenhauer also believed in the transformative power of art and philosophy. In his opinion, these activities help us transcend the ordinary and touch the higher truth, freeing ourselves from the cycle of desires and dissatisfaction. Consider how a great book, a captivating landscape, or moving music can make you feel. In these moments, the boundaries of the self seem to dissolve. We come into contact with something eternal and universal. Schopenhauer saw in these experiences the possibility to rise above the vanity of life, to momentarily step away from the will and touch the very essence of being. It is important to cultivate a love for art, literature, and philosophy. It is not merely entertainment or intellectual curiosity, but a search for moments of silence and clarity in a chaotic world. Such moments remind us that life, despite difficulties, contains deep beauty and meaning. Reflecting on Schopenhauer's ideas, the question arises, how to apply them in everyday life? After all, understanding philosophy is one thing, but living according to it is quite another. In the concluding part, we will discuss practical steps to overcome life's difficulties and find meaning. We will learn to find purpose despite suffering and cultivate a deep sense of peace and satisfaction. Stay with me, because next you will learn how to change your attitude towards your problems and the world around you. Approaching the heart of Schopenhauer's philosophy, Let's focus on applying his ideas for clarity, resilience, and hope. How to embrace his views despite pessimism to find meaning and strength in life. Arthur Schopenhauer believed that most of our suffering arises from resistance and refusal to accept the inevitable hardships of life. We often tell ourselves that it is unfair. Such thoughts, although natural, trap us in a cycle of disappointment and denial. Instead, what if we could face life with radical honesty and accept suffering? Suffering is not an anomaly, but a fundamental part of existence. It does not mean giving up or becoming apathetic. Acceptance helps shift focus from struggle to understanding. In practice, this can manifest in mindfulness, which teaches observing thoughts and feelings without judgment, accepting discomfort rather than trying to escape it. When we do this, we begin to see that pain, though inevitable, is also transient. It comes and goes, like waves on the shore. Another way to apply Schopenhauer's philosophy is to reconsider our relationship with desire. He warned that will and endless striving for more are sources of unhappiness. In the modern world, which constantly encourages striving for more, how do we cope with this? The answer requires deep understanding and mindfulness. We strive to want more, achieve more, and become better. One approach is the practice of gratitude, which helps change our perception of life and appreciate the present. Although Schopenhauer did not emphasize gratitude, his ideas align with modern research on its benefits for overcoming dissatisfaction. Gratitude helps us break free from the cycle of discontent by focusing on what we already have rather than what we lack. By shifting our perspective from scarcity to abundance, we change our mindset. Take a moment now to think about what you are grateful for today. It could be a small joy, like a warm cup of coffee, or something deeper, like the support of a loved one. Notice how a simple act of gratitude changes your mood and outlook on the world. This small action has great significance. Schopenhauer also valued simplifying life and believed that reducing attachment to things helps focus on what is important. Today, this might mean stepping back from the noise of social media, avoiding comparisons with others, and finding joy in the present. One of the deepest lessons of Schopenhauer's philosophy is the power of compassion, which unites everyone through shared pain. Although life, in his view, is full of suffering, realizing this connects us and helps find understanding and support in each other. In this shared human experience, we can cultivate empathy and kindness both towards ourselves and others. Compassion begins with small acts, a kind word to a stranger, a gesture of support to a friend, or forgiving one's own mistakes may seem insignificant. But these actions create ripples capable of changing not only our lives but also the lives of those around us. Now about the transformative power of art and beauty. Schopenhauer believed that immersion in art helps escape the relentless demands of the will. Make time for inspiring moments, listen to music that moves you, explore challenging literature, or simply spend time in nature. In such moments, we can transcend the chaos of everyday life and feel a connection to something greater, a reminder of beauty and hope. Finally, let's talk about purpose. If life is full of struggle, as Schopenhauer claimed, how do we find meaning in it? The answer is not in avoiding pain, but in accepting it as a catalyst for growth. As Viktor Frankl said, the suffering itself is not what matters. Schopenhauer teaches that meaning is not given to us from outside, but created by us. Through kindness, art, or the courage to accept failures, we create the meaning of life. Every day we can turn suffering into something deep and meaningful. It is our choice to perceive life differently or to remain in illusions. How will you use the knowledge gained today? Will you let it inspire you to see life anew and find purpose in the struggle? Or do you prefer to resist, clinging to illusions that only deepen the sense of dissatisfaction? The choice is yours. As we conclude this journey through Schopenhauer's philosophy, remember, life is hard, full of disappointments and unfulfilled desires. But therein lies the potential for growth. Through honesty, compassion, and courage, we can rise above suffering and understand what it means to be human. Share your thoughts in the comments. What touched you? What was challenging? I look forward to your perspectives so we can continue this path together. Thank you very much for watching this video. I really appreciate your attention and support.